Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Rightful Icon video, and we are going to hit another challenging topic today. Oh, I was just briefing Lee on it right before we got into it. Let me tell you, he is excited for what we have planned for you.
I say excited is the word for it. I definitely want to hear what Jay got to say on the topic.
Definitely. And the reason why I think it's exciting is it's something that kind of affects me and a couple of other people in, I want to say, my life, as well as potentially other people's lives. And that is going to be the challenge of dogma. Okay. And let me explain basically what dogma is, because I don't think it's a very common concept that people come across. But I think it's not a concept that you don't come across. It's just a concept that you don't know how to explain. Okay. So dogma is like a person that says something and they cannot be challenged on the thing that they say, right? So that is like an issue that gets plagued in economics, in my opinion. Because in economics, we make assumptions and we make guesses based on models that we've created ourselves. So everything we say about the model we've created, we're going to be assumed to be the ones who are correct about it. Basically, what we're saying is we're the ones that made it so we can make predictions on the thing that we made for ourselves. So we're going to be right about it. And the reason why I wanted to bring it up is because it's important to be able to identify dogma in your relationships as well as in your business, because I think it is actually a great contributor to a problem of when do you figure out when you're right or wrong, right? So, Ali, what are your initial thoughts?
It's something that I don't know if I struggle with it. I think I'm a pretty agreeable person. I definitely get stuck in my mindset about certain things, but most things that that I'm concrete on, like I can't change like the mindset. I know that I'm right in it. Nobody can talk me out of it. It's like personal things. Like I know that I'm the best person for like certain jobs, or I know that I can do certain things. It's never like assumptions on other people that I don't change. I change that based on like what they show me as a person. So I think I'm kind of fluid with that mind state. So it's something I don't think that I struggle with, but I mean, I'm going to listen to what you got to say on it and try to connect it to my like real life situations and see if maybe I'm like missing the point where I'm actually going through this and I'm just not seeing it. But I don't think it's something that I'm like going through too many struggles with thinking about currently.
Right. So, like, again, we might, this is kind of a complicated topic. I might have it wrong myself. So I hope I get it correctly. But when you're dealing with dogma, I think the challenge that I have with it, as well as an economist and an entrepreneur, kind of, one of the issues that I really hope I don't have to struggle with is figuring out when I'm wrong.
Okay.
I love when, like, Ali, honestly, it's going to sound weird, but I love when Ali corrects me or brings up an idea that's better than mine, or is able to add something. Like I love when Ali and some of our other people in our friend group are able to do that. What was that?
So you love when I open my mouth, because that happens whenever I open my mouth. What you
right? That's an example of dogma. But anyway, so but what I mean by that is I usually try to only talk about what I know about. And if I know about it, I'm going to assume I'm right about it. And that could be an issue in plenty of ways. So if I think I'm going to be right and I put a lot of thought into it, that means I'm not going to be able to be challenged when it's the topic that I am the one that's studying, right? And where I find that to be an issue is it's hard for somebody to critique your idea. It doesn't sound like it's a huge problem to not have any haters or critics, but when you're an entrepreneur, if somebody can't tell you what's wrong with your product, you're not going to be able to improve your product for the market because you basically don't get any feedback and you don't get the customers or your competitors telling you what they want to see out of your product. So what we have really, and kind of what we're trying to promote here at Rifle Icon, is we're trying to have everybody become more open to feedback and more negative feedback, because I feel like negative feedback is actually very helpful for your product.
We can jump in this right now, Jake. I'm glad.
Exactly. I'm excited.
I didn't think about the way you're thinking about it. We can start right now with the clothing I'm wearing right now. I think I make the best shirt designs for our brand. Like, out of everybody who like works towards it, and I don't like hearing idea. When I bring an idea to the guys, like, I think like, hey, this is gonna pop, and I love it, and I think it's gonna be like really, really great for us. If they don't like it, I don't like them. Like, that's just how it works. Like,
oh, that's so true. Oh, yeah. God.
Like, when I bring something to them, I think it's great, it's perfect, and they're like, oh no, you should probably hit the drawing board, so this is that and that, and I'm like, I hate that. I don't like that, and I'm like, I had to learn. I really had to sit down and really learn to listen to them and know that, like, I'm not the only voice in this, and their input is valuable, even though I hate to hear it, and I don't want to like make the changes that they give to me, because I think that my ideas come out amazing. I love it every time. I think I'm a 10 out of 10 every time I make like a design decision for our like brand.
And that's another example, just a Dogma, just like, oh man, something I've put so much effort towards, I'm so great at it, it has to be right, it has to be perfect, because I'm the one who worked so hard for it. And that is just something, like, I'm not saying you have it, Ali. I mean, the way you just said it, yeah, you do. But like, for me, I'm trying to avoid that at all costs, because when you're in a business, that could be your death sentence if you're not able to listen to the feedback from what everybody is saying. Because
tough, Jake. I'm not gonna lie, that is tough.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah, if you have a concrete belief in you, like what you're doing, like, you know, like for sure, it like in your heart of hearts, you know it's gonna work. It's really hard to like let other voices into that. Like,
so, ladies and gentlemen, this is a lead. Just now realizing that this is a bigger problem than what we came into this video thinking of.
I connected to the same things you connected with.
There we go. There we go. So,
okay, that's the problem. Okay,
that is something. Yeah. That is something that happens all the time in business, where people think they're Mr. Right just because they've worked so hard on this idea, and they don't listen to anybody else when they're trying to get feedback. But what I'm trying, like, my solution to this problem is the negative feedback, at least in my opinion. Like, and how other entrepreneurs do it, negative feedback shouldn't be a, what's the word I'm looking for? It shouldn't be an insult when you hear negative feedback, right? Because when you hear negative feedback, it's a change. Normally it's a change. If it's not a change, it's just an insult. If it's a change for something better, then all of a sudden you think, oh, hey, they're giving me something free to improve on. And an example of this that I actually have, even with my own family, my mother and my father both want to give me entrepreneurial advice all the time, whenever they find it, right? And just last night, my mother wanted to actually force me, basically, to read the story of how Flaming Hot Cheetos was created. And my mother, she went through like the whole story, and I was like, oh, my whole college degree in one book, huh? Right? And that's bad for me, because yes, I've heard these kinds of stories all over the place. I can name 8 entrepreneurs off the top of my head who have gone through this. But since my mother is trying to expose me to another one, I should not approach it at this dogmatic approach where I probably know how this story is going to end I can probably guess how he made this product. Because that is such a bad way to actually approach some topics. Because when you think of it like that, you basically are blocking yourself from improvement, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's where I'm getting with it. I'm learning. I'm learning that I'm not the best. I'm not the best person in the world at everything I want to do, and that everybody outside of me has like different worldviews and different ways. They have different things that they can see that I can't see. That's an improvement on things that I've never considered, and I'm learning how to take those with a little grain of salt. You know, I'm not gonna be happy to hear it, but I'm learning how to be content, you know, tolerable of it. Like, that was a really hard struggle for me in the beginning, but I'm getting a lot better with it now. I've seen like where like ideas where I didn't think they would work, I implemented them and they actually did improve a project I was working on. And I saw that like my unagreeableness was actually holding us back as a unit. And that's something that I have to be more considerate of in the future. And I know Jake can contest to it. Like I work now. I come to my guys first. Every time I come up with something, I'm like, hey, how do you guys feel about this? What can I do next with this? Or where should we go with this? You know, always get that feedback and always be open to it. Because like I said, nobody sees the world how you see it. Nobody completely agrees with you on everything you think is going right. So yeah, just be open. Be open. That's where I'm at with it.
And then, so second part of this is, how do you deal with somebody else that doesn't want to actually listen to your feedback? And that's a tough problem. And there was this video, another video on YouTube I actually saw. I'll be sure to link this one as well. They actually brought up a very interesting concept to me, right? If you're dealing with somebody who's dogmatic, right, they're going to try to distract you from the argument that you're trying to propose. Like, they're going to try to break your argument down, right? And one of the ways that they do it is through a straw man, or basically a over exaggeration of your point, to the point where it won't work. So to say, Ali, for your example, your shirts, like, we'll just go with this one. Your shirt is ugly. And you're saying, no, it's not. I will then I'll ask you, why do you think it's not ugly? And you're going to say something along the lines as,
I made it. I don't make ugly products.
Exactly. And then I'll create this straw man. And I was like, well, what about that last shirt that was a misprint?
That was still a good product.
Right.
Where are you going with it? But
Yeah. So they'll bring your points, they'll over exaggerate them into oblivion.
Yeah.
Basically, is what I'm trying to say when you're dealing with somebody who's a little more dogmatic. And you got to pay attention to just that, or to some other telltale signs of a dogmatic person. And at the same time, you should be able to notice those in yourself. If you're having these kinds of issues, right? Are you doing some of these things yourself? Because if you're doing some of these things yourself, then you're just blocking yourself from progress. So that is the only reason why I would bring it up, is like, okay, I think I'm the best. I think Rifle Icon as a brand is a great brand. We've done nothing wrong. We're doing everything right. But what we've noticed, like, say we noticed, how come we haven't sold any t-shirts yet? Oh, we haven't done anything wrong. Well, we haven't been, say, marketing. We haven't been putting out as many videos as we should have. We haven't been promoting the channel as much. That's what our hater would say, our hater. But we wouldn't listen to our hater if we were dogmatic, because everything we're doing, we've been researching all the stuff of this brand. We're doing everything right. How could we be doing anything wrong? We're dogmatic.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always important to make sure that negative feedback is a part of your business. Yeah. And that's one of the things, like, on our application we're developing, that I want to implement, right? We're going to have you guys, you entrepreneurs that are watching. Ooh, here's your challenge. You're going to be we'll be posting ideas of our own ideas onto the website. And by our own, I mean my ideas for businesses that we have. And I'll challenge you guys like, hey, what sounds dumb about this idea? Please let me know what you think won't and will work, and let me know how we can move forward in it. And I think that would be a really cool space for entrepreneurs to actually like overcome this idea of dogma so that you guys can progress yourselves.
I would say definitely just a resource to help people out when dealing with a dogmatic person, somebody who's like really headstrong and really like adamant about the product they presented, is always have a strong argument for the changes you want to bring, to have a strong argument and have like instances to back that argument, like have like maybe go towards other products that are similar to it and see where they made the change that's kind of like the change that you want to bring to the product, and show them numbers like, hey, this sold really well after they did this, or you know, this didn't sell well and they did exactly what you're doing. So always bring evidence behind your argument, bring a strong argument, bring evidence. And if they can't change their product after bringing that to them, maybe you're talking to the wrong person. Because if you have evidence and you have an argument that's strong enough and they can't change, then you're talking to the wrong person. Because dogmatic people, if they're reasonable people, they know that, hey, their product can be changed and it can be better. And if they're not willing to make that change, then they're not somebody willing to succeed in the field that you want to succeed in. That's what I gotta say.
Yeah, definitely. And to kind of close, it is always important to make a distinction between like an insult and a negative feedback for your projects. Like, I always love when someone tells me the truth about an idea that I have, because it's going to save me time, because I'm going to keep thinking about it. And if I keep thinking about the wrong idea because I didn't hear this negative feedback, I probably will waste like 4 or 5 hours of my own time just in headspace, just thinking about this idea. While I could have thought of this negative feedback and think, man, my idea has a chance to improve tenfold just because somebody was able to tell me straight. So don't look at negative feedback as an insult. Look at it as somebody telling you the truth and telling you what they want to see out of your product. Because normally when a customer tells you what they want, they'll usually buy it afterwards when you implement the idea. But Ali, what would you close with?
I'll just close with what I came in. Pretty much. I'm gonna build upon like how I came in. I think the hardest part of it is recognizing it in yourself. I just saw that with myself. Like, it's hard to see when you're like, you always want to believe you're right. You always going to want to believe that you're doing the best for your business, and it's hard to see when you're wrong. And you got to be willing to listen to other people. That's the only way it's going to work. You got to like take in that feedback. The hardest part about dogmatic people is they don't see it in themselves. They don't know when it's happening. I'm a victim of it. I'm sure other people are.
So am I.
Yeah.
So am I.
Always look into yourself. Always be self-analyzing and know where your faults are. And you're never always right. Never. Not in any situation. There's always something you can learn from everything. So always be willing to be open to that.
And with that note, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Making sure we're always challenging ourselves as usual here at Rightful Icon. You guys gotta remember that it's gotta be you.
Always gotta be you. Thanks again, guys.
It's gotta be you. See you guys on the next one.